I'm always so fascinated by your background because when you came out of the Olympics, you had options. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you wanted to move into MMA, that would have been an option as well. Did you get recruited at all? Did you consider it at all?
I never really did. I wasn't as big of a fan as everyone else was. I didn't really follow it. I had watched pay-per-views and we'd get together at the training center and stuff and watch them, but like never resonated with me. And like I was a fan of pro wrestling since I was 6 years old, man. And I was one of the tape traders in the 90s, and like I have my old collection, and I was on all the message boards in the 90s when they were first becoming cool, and like real wrestling geek, like from the beginning, dude. So like that's all I ever wanted to do. This is all I ever wanted to do.
So like as you're like this, Olympic wrestler, you're like watching Too Cold Scorpio do like tumbleweed leg drops.
100%. Kabashi Masawa, I used to make my own like t-shirts and wear them to amateur wrestling tournaments. So like we're going to these amateur wrestling tournaments and guys are looking at my shirt. These guys in green and orange tights being like, those aren't Greco-Roman wrestlers there, but it was cool. I'd get singlets made in their colors and try to just emulate those guys. And pro wrestling was always my thing, man. And I mean, obviously back then, like the size thing was still kind of an issue. So like everyone was still huge back then in the company. So in my mind, like I was always too small for it. And wrestling also, let me not act like amateur wrestling wasn't a passion of mine. It was like my life for 20 years. So it was what I also loved. But, when there's a choice of, are you going to make it in WWE or should you keep doing this wrestling thing? The choice was pretty clear back then, but it was my segue. So,
did you ever come across any other eventual pro wrestlers when you were in the ring? I talked to UFC fighter Gerald Harris, and he was like, Dolph Ziggler was the toughest guy I ever wrestled.
Wow. Interesting. I have never been asked that. Let me think.
And like Jeff Cobb ended up wrestling Yoel Romero, who was a UFC fighter.
And I knew Jeff Cobb's name when I was still competing in amateur wrestling, but we never kind of crossed paths, But no, but I did, I went out of my way to research all the guys, and especially Minnesota had a pretty cool history in wrestling with guys from the amateurs and guys like Brad Ragans, and I spoke to on the phone after I finished up, and he gave me some advice and stuff. And he had been through Japan and some other places, so it's just kind of cool, man, to carry on. Also, Minnesota's personal tradition in wrestling. It's cool to me.
Of course.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, I love amateur wrestling. Yeah. I took catch wrestling for a long time. Did you ever see anything within WWE, within pro wrestling, and be like, I can pull that off in the amateur ranks? I can pull that, or just a shoot grappling situation.
Dude, so in 2005, when I first transitioned from high school to senior level wrestling, they changed the Greco-Roman wrestling rules, which was my Olympic style, and they changed the clinch, which, long story short, it's you're a forced position you're put in, to this position where a guy is standing holding here. You've never seen so many legit power bombs in your life. Every tournament was guys, before everyone learned how to defend it, because they just threw these rules at us, everyone's getting guys up on their shoulders and just power bomb them. And I, truth be told, I got power bombed at Junior Worlds in 2005 by a guy from Estonia. I won the match, but I got power bombed and humiliated. But yes, I've seen many of those.